everybody, it's Cody Kessler, Kessler Lending Advisors, Division of Homebridge, coming to you today live from our Rockville office for today's episode of KLA Now. Today we're going to talk about something that has been coming up a lot, but it's also something that we get a ton of questions about. And it's really, what type of pre-approval am I getting? You can go to 100 different mortgage companies, and they're all going to do it slightly different. And they all really just say, well, this is our process. This is how we do it. So if you call up the bank, they're going to say, I need you to go online. I need you to sit down with me, take an application. Here's the information. Here are the documents that I need from you. But it's all going to be different. So really, what are you getting in that pre-approval that they're getting, or giving you, excuse me. So a lot of people don't understand that they actually have a choice as to what the bank is providing, because there's different levels that the bank can actually do for you. Let's draw a spectrum. If you can think of this from left to right, okay? And so over here, we've got, this is the weakest type of pre-approval that you can get, and this is actually called a pre-qual. It's a pretty common terminology that a lot of people use. Hey, I want to get pre-qualled. But what this actually is, it's nothing other than 6 pieces of information. It's your name, your social, and your income, the property address, the property value, what type of loan you want, a credit pull. That's not a lot of information. And it doesn't even have to be verified. So when you're talking about these things, it's actually pretty scary in the fact that the federal government allows for mortgage companies to give you a piece of paper saying that you're qualified based upon just that. So if you're talking about actually getting a pre-qual, it really is actually, you're giving yourself a ton of risk and a ton of exposure, because it's really not worth the paper that it's written on. So that's on the far left as far as the weakest. So if we were to go all the way over to the right here, which is what the strongest is going to be, this is what's going to be called a pre-commitment. There are not very many mortgage companies out there that actually do pre-commitments, true pre-commitments. There are many companies that will say that they pre-underwrite, that they pre-approve, and again, that is just a certain level of doing it. But what a true pre-commitment is, and we'll write that here, pre-commitment, and I apologize about my horrible handwriting, but a pre-commitment means that absolutely everything has been reviewed by an underwriter prior to this letter going out, okay? Not leaving a few things here and there. It's not a conditional approval by the underwriter, meaning that a conditional approval, the underwriter has approved the loan, but there is a laundry list of things that still need to be given and provided to the underwriter in order for them to clear the loan. That leaves you just as much exposure as having some of it reviewed, because you're leaving this whole entire thing, and I'll draw this out for you real quick. Everybody knows what an iceberg is, and I mentioned this a couple KLA Now ago. So if you're looking at the water line and you're thinking of an iceberg, how much do you actually see that sits above the water line? It's a terrible iceberg, I understand that. Generally speaking, 10%. That's all that you can see. But below the water, you've got this enormous piece of ice that sits there. So you've got the remaining 90% below the water that you can't see. You have no idea what's sitting there. You don't know how big it is. You don't know how wide it goes. You don't know how deep or anything like that. This is what sinks your ship. The things that you can't see. The Titanic didn't hit the iceberg. The bottom of the ship hit what was under the water, what they couldn't see. Same theory. So if you are doing something like a pre-qual or anything that is outside of a pre-commitment, which is verifying everything, you're leaving yourself with that amount of exposure. So how much is it? Are you verifying 10%, 20, 30, or are you taking care of absolutely everything? It's your choice as the consumer. The problem with the industry, nobody talks about these things. The banks don't want you to. They want to talk about things like quick and easy. Well, that's great for them, and it sounds great for you. But the quicker and the easier that I make it in the beginning, I'm just leaving all the hard and difficult things for later on in the process, when you've got things like risk and exposure, meaning that you put money on the line, you can lose your deposit, and you've also got a contract where you can end up in court. So if I'm going through this transaction, I'm not looking for any mortgage company to do anything quick or easy. I'm looking for accuracy. I'm looking for due diligence. I'm looking for them to tell me what I need to know so I can make a good decision. So hopefully this makes sense so far. So let's talk about this wide gap between the strongest pre-commitment and the weakest pre-qual. Everything else here is considered a pre-approval of some type. Is it a really weak one or is it a really strong one? A pre-approval can be done by a loan officer. A pre-approval can be done by, as we already said, an underwriter. But the point of this is that there are things that are left unreviewed. And anything that is left unreviewed and you're leaving that for later on, problems can come out of it. This is where people all of a sudden surprised, the loan officer told you that you're good to go and that you can get financing, and then later on the underwriter says, nope, we can't give you financing. If I'm going through this transaction, this is not where I want to be. I want to be somewhere here and above. I want to make sure that if I'm going out and I'm looking at the house and I find that house, that I can get the financing. I don't want to go and sell my house and then go and make plans to buy a new one, only to find out on the day of closing that I can't get financing. It's unacceptable. It happens all the time. So if I'm the consumer right now, this is where I'm looking to go. I'm looking to make sure that I've addressed all of the needs of my loan so that I can move forward and protect my family. That's a funny thing. We're going to write that word here, protection, okay? When you're looking for a mortgage bank to do something, rates are important. Guidelines, programs, all of that is important. But how is that mortgage company going to provide protection for you? How are they going to make sure, since they are the ones that carry that ball after you sign that contract, how are they going to make sure that you're protected? And promising you a quick and easy pre-approval, because that's what it sounds good, that's not giving you protection. That's actually feeding into the risk and exposure model, which they prey on, because that's how they make money, ladies and gentlemen. The more people they can get into their system, the faster that they can get them in through onto the conveyor belt, the more likely they are to make money off of you. So they prey on your lack of knowledge. They prey on that. So as you're going through, you have a choice. As you're interviewing mortgage companies, yes, ask about rates, ask about their fees, but ask about their process. Ask about what type of commitment, what type of approval, what type of pre-qual they can offer from a standard standpoint, and then base your decision on that. It's quality versus quantity, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. And if there's anything else that we can do for you on this one, do we have any questions today? No questions. All right, great. That means everybody got this information. I did a good job. So I apologize again about my writing. If anybody has any questions about any of this information, always feel free to reach out to us. Give us a call. We're more than happy to answer those. But as always, we thank you for watching. We thank you for sharing, most importantly. And if there's anything that we can ever do, please give us a call. Kessler Lending Advisors. We'll catch you next week on Kessler Lending Advisors, Division of Homebridge, KLA Now.